Honey, pour yourself a massive glass of something strong because the tea I am about to spill is piping hot, tragic, and honestly, it's going to make you never want to let your partner go on a single friend's trip ever again. You think you know heartbreak? You think you know betrayal? Wait until you hear what Ilara, we'll call her Ilara, brought back from her little luxury vacation, and I'm not talking about a souvenir magnet. I'm staring at a piece of paper, just a flimsy, crinkled piece of paper that smells like the bottom of a designer handbag, a mix of expensive leather and mint gum. My hands are shaking so bad I can barely read the text, but the logo at the top is clear as day. It's a billing statement for a frantic same-day appointment at a private urgent care clinic. Service rendered, full STD panel. Date, yesterday. The exact morning she walked through our front door, dragging her suitcase and acting like a stranger. Let me rewind, because if I don't give you the context, you won't understand why my heart is currently physically hurting in my chest. I'm 37. Ilara is 37. We aren't just married, we are the couple. The high school sweethearts who actually made it. We've been together for 16 years, married for 10. We survived long distance during college. We survived being broke in our 20s, and we built a life that, from the outside, looks like a Pinterest board. We have a 6-year-old son, Leo, who is the light of my life. We have the house, we have the careers. Ilara has always been my safe place. You know how some couples bicker or have those work spouse jokes? We didn't have that. We were transparent, or at least I was the idiot who thought we were. A month ago, Ilara's best friend from high school announced she was getting married. This friend, let's call her Jessica, is a lot. She's the type who needs everything to be an Instagram production. She planned a fairy tale wedding in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, a full week of festivities. I was invited, obviously, but I had a massive project launch at work that I couldn't shift. I told Ilara, babe, you go, have a blast. Leo and I will hold down the fort. She didn't want to go without me at first, or so she said, but Jessica guilt-tripped her into it. So off she went for a week of sun, margaritas, and apparently complete destruction of our vows. When Ilara came back 3 days ago, the vibe was off, immediate red flags. You know when you haven't seen your partner for a week? Usually there's that I missed you energy, a long hug, a kiss that lingers, maybe jumping into bed immediately. Instead, she walked in, gave me a side hug that felt like she was hugging a cactus, and immediately went to shower. She said, I'm just exhausted. The flight was a nightmare. I need to decompress. I let it slide. I'm a good husband. I thought, okay, she's tired. Social battery is drained. But then the coldness didn't thaw. It froze over. For the last 3 days, she has been a ghost in her own house. She snaps at me for breathing too loud. If I ask her about the trip, she gives one-word answers. It was fine. It was hot. Jessica was a bridezilla. But the worst part? The intimacy. It's gone. Deleted. 2 nights ago, I tried to initiate. Just cuddling, you know. I put my hand on her waist in bed, and she literally flinched. She recoiled like I had burned her. She sat up and snapped, can you just give me some space? My head is pounding. I'm not in the mood, okay? Stop pressuring me. I wasn't pressuring her. I was her husband trying to hold her. I rolled over, feeling like garbage, wondering what I did wrong. Was she falling out of love with me? Did she realize on this trip that she was happier without me? My anxiety started spiraling. And listen, I'm not a snoop. I trust her. But yesterday, the gut feeling was screaming at me. It was a physical nausea. She came home from running errands, looking pale, sweaty, and terrified. She clutched her purse to her chest and marched straight to our bedroom. Usually, she dumps her bag on the kitchen island. This time, she hid it in the back of her closet, under a pile of sweaters. I waited. I waited until the shower water turned on. I felt dirty doing it, but I walked into that closet, dug out the bag, and opened it. And that's when I found it. The receipt. A full viral panel. Expedited results requested. Why? Why would a woman who has only slept with her husband for the last 16 years need an emergency STD test the second she lands from a girl's trip? There is only one reason. And if you are sitting there thinking, maybe she thinks you cheated, let me stop you right there. I have been home with a 6-year-old and a laptop for 7 days. Unless I hooked up with the Uber Eats driver, I'm clean. I took a photo of the bill. I put it back exactly how I found it. And I walked out of the room, my legs feeling like jelly. I didn't confront her immediately. I couldn't. I felt like I was going to throw up. I needed to know the results before I blew up my life. I went down a doom-scrolling rabbit hole online, reading horror stories about post-vacation guilt and trickle truth. If you're already shook, hit that like button because I haven't even gotten to the worst part yet. The lies she is about to spin are going to make your head spin. So here we are, update one, date. I couldn't wait for the results. The silence in the house was suffocating me. I felt like I was living with a stranger who was wearing my wife's face. The day after I found the bill, we were sitting at dinner. Leo was at my parents' house for a sleepover, so it was just us. The silence was loud. The only sound was the scraping of forks. She looked up, finally noticing that I wasn't eating. "Are you okay? You've been weird all day," she asked. The audacity. I looked her dead in the eye. I didn't blink. I just said, "So how did the STD test go?" Let me tell you, the color drained from her face faster than water down a drain. She turned gray. She dropped her fork. It clattered onto the plate, and she just froze. "What?" she whispered. "The test," I repeated, leaning back in my chair, trying to look calm even though my heart was hammering at 200 beats per minute. "The emergency test you took yesterday, the one you hid the bill for. Do we have results yet? Should I be worried for my health or just yours?" She started stuttering. I don't, how did you? "Don't worry about how I know," I said, my voice dropping an octave. "Explain, now." And then she did the thing that made me want to flip the table. She started crying, not just crying, weeping, the victim tears. She rushed over to my side of the table, fell to her knees, and tried to grab my hands. "Baby, please, you have to listen to me," she sobbed. "It's not what you think. I was just scared. I was being paranoid." I pulled my hands away. I sat there like a statue. "Ilara, stop. Tell me the truth. Did you sleep with someone else?" She buried her face in my lap, shaking. "It was a mistake. It was a moment of weakness. They pressured me." And there it was, the truth. But the details? "Honey, the details are vile," she confessed. Apparently, the first 2 days of this wedding week were a bachelorette party. Jessica, the bride, had hired a private villa. She hired entertainment, male dancers, escorts. Ilara swore she resisted at first. She sat in the corner while her friends indulged. But then the teasing started. Jessica told her she was boring, called her a prude, said, "You've only been with one man your whole life? That's tragic. You need to live a little. What happens in Cabo stays in Cabo." They hired a masseur for the next day, a guy named Mateo. And according to my weeping wife, the girls convinced her to get a massage. Just a massage. But it wasn't just a massage. It was an intimate massage. And when this guy started crossing lines, touching places a masseur shouldn't touch, she didn't stop him. She said the alcohol, the peer pressure, the atmosphere, she just gave in. "It just happened," she cried. "He was an escort, Mark. It wasn't emotional. It was just physical." And afterward, the girls cheered for me. They said it was good for me to explore. But the second it was over, I felt sick. I realized what I did. I haven't slept. I'm terrified I caught something. That's why I took the test. I wanted to make sure I was clean before I ever touched you again. I looked down at the woman I had loved for 16 years. She was snot crying on my jeans, begging for forgiveness, blaming her friends, blaming the alcohol. I stood up. She fell onto the floor. "Get up," I said. I didn't recognize my own voice. It sounded dead. "You let your friends cheer you on while you cheated on me? You let a stranger inside you because Jessica called you boring?" "I'm sorry," she screamed. "I'll do anything. I'll cut them off. I'll go to therapy. Please, Mark, think of Leo." That was the wrong thing to say. "Do not," I roared, "bring our son into this. You didn't think about Leo when you were with Mateo. You didn't think about our family then." I grabbed my car keys. She tried to block the door, clinging to my shirt, but I shoved past her. I drove straight to my buddy Jay's house. Jay is divorced. He's bitter, but he's smart, and he's a lawyer. I drank until I blacked out on his couch. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and a crystal clear realization. I was done. This wasn't a drunk kiss at a bar. This was a calculated series of choices. She chose to go into that room. She chose to undress. She chose to let it happen. She chose to hide it. I took the day off work. I sat with Jay. I told him everything. "Do you want to try counseling?" Jay asked me, playing devil's advocate. "She took an STD test because she slept with a gigolo, Jay," I said. "I can never touch her again without thinking about that." Jay nodded. "All right, let's draw up the papers." We spent the afternoon drafting. I wanted it fast. I wanted it brutal. I went back home the next day to pack a bag. Ilara was there. She looked like a zombie, eyes swollen shut. When she saw me, she lit up with this pathetic hope. "Mark," she whispered, reaching for me. "You're back. We can fix this. I know we can." I dodged her touch. I'm here for my clothes, Alara. I'm staying at a hotel. She followed me around the room while I packed, crying, begging, listing all the reasons we shouldn't throw away 16 years. I came clean, she argued. I told you the truth. Doesn't that count for something? You told me the truth because I found the receipt, I reminded her. If I hadn't found that bill, you would have taken this to your grave. She went silent because she knew I was right. I left. I've been in a hotel for a week. She has been blowing up my phone, showing up at my office, sending my mother to call me. She told my mom we had a fight but didn't say why. Make sure you're subscribed because the update I'm about to drop is going to make you scream. You think the cheating was bad? Watch what happens when I decide to use her own guilt against her. Update 2. The end game. The divorce papers were ready. Jay is a shark. He got them done in record time. I needed to deliver them, but I didn't just want to mail them. I wanted closure and maybe a little bit of revenge. I know. Take the high road, but the high road is boring and I was hurting. I texted Alara. I'm coming over. We need to talk. When I got there, she had cleaned the house. She had cooked my favorite meal. She was wearing a dress I loved. She was staging a reset. I walked in and she looked hopeful. Mark, please, sit. Let's eat. I sat. I didn't eat. I just watched her nervous energy. The test results came back. She blurted out. Negative. Everything is negative. I'm clean, Mark. It's over. It never has to be mentioned again. It's not over for me, I said calmly. What can I do? She begged. Tell me what to do. I'll do anything to save us. I looked at her. Anything, she vowed. Okay, I said. I want you to tell my parents and your parents tonight together. She froze. What? Mark, no, that will kill them. My dad, he'll never look at me the same way. Why would we humiliate me like that if we're going to work it out? I didn't say we were working it out, I lied. Well, I omitted the truth. I said I need you to own what you did. If you want a chance, I need full transparency. I need to know you aren't hiding anymore. She agonized over it. I watched her crumble. Finally, she nodded. Okay, if that's what it takes. She made the calls. She invited them over for coffee that evening. While we waited, things got weird. We were in the bedroom. I was looking at photos of Leo. She came up behind me and hugged me. I didn't push her away this time. I was so tired. I missed her smell. I missed my wife, even though I hated her. One thing led to another. I know you're screaming at the screen right now. Don't do it, Mark. But I did. We slept together. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was the most intense, desperate, sad intimacy I've ever had. She was crying the whole time, holding on to me like she was drowning. I was doing it because, I don't know. Maybe I wanted to reclaim her. Maybe I wanted one last memory before I burned it all down. Maybe I'm just a man with a broken heart and bad judgment. Afterwards, she fell asleep on my chest, looking peaceful for the first time in a week. She thought she had won. She thought the sex meant forgiveness. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, feeling an emptiness so deep it echoed. Then the doorbell rang. The parents were here. Alara woke up, flustered but confident. She squeezed my hand. We can get through this, she whispered. We went downstairs. My parents were there, looking confused. Her parents were there, looking worried. Alara stood in the middle of the living room. She took a deep breath. She looked at me for strength. I gave her a blank stare. Mom, Dad, everyone, she started, her voice shaking. I have something difficult to tell you. When I was in Cabo, I made a mistake. I was unfaithful to Mark. The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Her mother gasped. My mother looked like she had been slapped. Her father looked down at his shoes, shame radiating off him. I'm so sorry, Alara continued, tears streaming down her face. It meant nothing. It was a mistake. But I'm confessing because I love Mark, and I want to fix our marriage. I want to start over with no secrets. She looked at me, waiting for me to step in, waiting for me to say, and I forgive her. Instead, I reached into my briefcase, which I had left by the door. I pulled out the manila envelope. Thank you for being honest, Alara, I said. My voice was ice cold. That was the condition for me coming here today. I walked over and handed her the envelope. What is this? She asked, her hands trembling. Those are divorce papers, I said. The sound she made, it was like a wounded animal. But, she stammered, looking at the bedroom door. You said if I did this, I said if you wanted a chance, you had to confess, I corrected her. You had your chance. You blew it in Cabo. The confession was for my closure, not your redemption. I turned to our stunned parents. I'm filing for full custody. I'm taking the house until the settlement is finalized. Alara, you need to find somewhere else to stay tonight. Her dad stood up. I thought he was going to hit me. Instead, he looked at his daughter, shook his head, and walked out the front door. Her mom followed. My parents hugged me, glaring at Alara, and left to wait for me in the car. Alara was on the floor again, clutching the papers, screaming that I was cruel, that I tricked her, that I used her. Maybe I was cruel. But she destroyed 16 years for a night with a stripper named Mateo. I just destroyed her Sunday afternoon. Final update, it's been 2 months. The divorce went through faster than expected because she didn't fight it. She was too broken to fight. I have Leo. She gets him on weekends. Every time I drop him off, she looks a little thinner, a little older. She tries to make small talk. I keep it to logistics. I'm living in a new apartment. It's quiet. I miss my old life. I miss the illusion of the perfect marriage. But then I remember the STD bill. I remember the lies. And I remember that she only confessed because she got caught. I'm in therapy now. It helps. So here is my question for you guys. And be honest. Was I too harsh? Did I take the petty revenge too far by sleeping with her and making her confess to her parents before serving her the papers? Or did she get exactly what she ordered off the menu? Let me know in the comments. And for the love of God, if your partner goes on a bachelor trip, check their purse when they get back. Peace out. Outro. Thank you for joining us today on our space. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you soon.